Come one, come all. It's this week's Monkey Nut Punch podcast. My little friend, Nige. Hello, Nige.
Hello there. What?
And it's my large friend. Hello, Keith.
Hello, Keith.
Now, Keithy. I've got something special. Before we start the podcast, I've got something special. We had a bumper one last week, and we're going to keep it short this time. But I have something very special to share with
your wife is in trouble. You don't have
with
Facebook.
The ladies and gentlemen at home, and hopefully this will come through all right. Now, let me just make sure I've got the sound on. I've clicked the sound. Yep, there we go. All right. So when Keith was younger, he was on a BBC children's TV show starring Sooty and Sweep, and here it is.
And often all about arguing, whether it's good or bad, or whether you should do it, whether you shouldn't do it. First of all, we're going to talk to this young man here. What's his name? Well, his name's Keith. You're Keith, aren't you? This is Sooty and Sweep and Sue. Say hello, Keith.
Hello.
Oh, hang on.
I'm asking the question. Yes, I will. Keith, do you ever argue?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you the same question that Matthew asked you, Keith. Do you ever argue?
Yes, constantly.
I still love that clip.
Who do you argue with? Who do you argue with?
Mummy.
You argue with your mummy?
And Lucy, because she's a little bit arguing.
I love that face.
It's almost like you're about to say, she's a fucker.
Let's just look at that little thing with the face. Wait for it. Here it comes.
Who do you argue with? Who do you argue with?
Mummy.
Here
You
it comes
argue
up.
with your mummy?
And Lucy, because she's
I stopped myself. I'm going to swear live on TV.
She's a cow.
She's a fucker. I hate her. She's a... No, better not say that.
But yes.
Come on, let's get this over with.
Argument to which? Who's Lucy? I don't know. Who is Lucy?
my sister.
Lucy's your sister. Has he got a brother? Have you got a brother as well?
No,
Well, you-
I'm the brother.
Oh,
the
you're-
brother.
I'm the brother.
I need to get that on a t-shirt.
Oh, my brother.
I'm the brother.
I love the fact that you didn't think that you were capable of having another brother.
Yes, it's
You
only
could have a
you.
sister and a brother, but no, you're the brother.
So you don't have to be on Facebook for me to find these things, Keith. So I think I've set them off now. So yeah, that was amusing. Anyway, we've got to get on with a few things before we start. Let's have a quick look at the comments because we've got some comments. Chuck, seen your
Yeah.
video.
Oh, no.
Oh, and Dave's here.
Yeah,
Dave's
don't
is
forget.
on.
Hello, Dave.
Got that. Keith's 15 minutes of fame. Apart from being in the background in Waking Ned or something along those
Yeah, waking it.
Waking Ned. That doesn't count because we never got to see you talk like that. That's just world class. Anyway,
What happened to your accent, Keith, by the way?
yeah, what happened to your accent?
What accent?
You were talking a little bit posher back there and a little bit more posher.
Yeah. And with
That's
that,
why.
it's time to move on to our movie news. Tom Cruise. Now, this is a bit of a weird one because I'm not sure how to take this. Tom Cruise had a meltdown on the Mission Impossible 7, 16, whatever it is, because he's done so really many of them. Had a meltdown on there, and it was someone recorded it, and I'm a little bit, it's a bit suspect, but I've factored in a few things. Yeah, he starts off the rant, he's like kind of going off everyone, and then he seems to calm down halfway through the rant. Yeah, we didn't see anything, we've got no context, so it looks a bit, iffy. Yeah, it could have been a scene from the film for all we knew. Yeah, could have been a scene from a film. But there are some sad things with it. He's an executive on this film. So if the film's losing money because he's an exec, he's in turn losing money. So where they've shut down before, they've lost money. This is probably his last Mission Impossible film. So the last time he gets to go out and do.
No, this is one of two. He's making 2 final movies. Whether they're shooting them back to back.
Keith, I haven't. If you look at the notes, there's a point why this might be his last Mission Impossible film, because cinema's dying due to the coup and the inability to gather in groups more than fucking 3. This may be his last chance to get something out in the cinema, even if it's limited. And the chances are that his next film, even if it's another Mission Impossible film, will wind up on a streaming service like HBO Max, Disney Plus, etc., etc. Also, it could be a publicity stunt. I've heard comments about people saying, "Oh, this is a publicity stunt" and whatnot. Yeah, so we could listen to it, but I'm gonna leave it there because someone somewhere, I'll probably find it next week. Someone somewhere has mixed him and Christian Bale, so it sounds like those two are having an argument together. So when he's planning to get off set, he goes, "You and me are done professionally," which is really class. So yeah, I think it's one of those things. I don't think it was. I think he might be suffering from COVID lockdown issues, like we all are, where we've all been locked in a bit, and we've not been able to do things as we want, and that frustration shine through, plus the losing of money and this, that, and the other. And if he gets shut down, or he's seen to do that, because he always likes to come across as a more of a professional Hollywood act. Yeah, doesn't go on Twitter and berate people. He always signs autographs and whatnot, and he has like a public presence. Yeah, and he probably wants to make sure that gets put through on site because he doesn't want to have any of his films showing him not adhering to the rules. Because if it shows him as a hypocrite, kind of breaks the mystique, kind of damages his personal brand, and it kind of, when you think about that, kind of makes a bit more sense. So, because it's movies, you're in the second seat. Keith, what do you think?
It was unprofessional. There's no two ways about it, and he didn't calm down quickly. He went on a very, very long rant. If that had happened in an office, he would at very least be getting a disciplinary, possibly let go. It was incredibly unprofessional. But what caused it? He was quite clearly under a lot of stress. I think he takes, the fact that this film is being made, he takes that on board by the looks of it, and it's weighing on him. I find it interesting that somebody recorded it. Usually they only record this kind of thing when the guy's been a dick. Maybe he's been a dick on set for quite a while, and this was the combination of it all. He is known to be a control freak, so all these beer bug rules, this is what he lost it about, that 2 people were crowding around a PC. So I don't know. I'm kind of have mixed feelings about Tom Cruise. I think he's very good with his fans. I love the fact that he will stand outside the cinema for 45 minutes to an hour, trying to sign everybody's autograph, and he's very good with the crowd. I hate the fact that he's a Scientologist, because what the fuck? And I don't like. I know he can be a bit of a controlling person. This is what Katie Holmes said about it in their divorcing papers. So, I don't think he deserved to have it leaked out, because by the looks of it, the guy does actually give a shit. I mean, when he said, "I care, I do care," he did sound sincere. Even though he was angry, he did sound sincere when he said, "I care." So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. That's the thing. In one way, I think it was highly unprofessional, but on the other hand, if he is had enough and he is carrying all the stresses and strains that we've all been carrying recently, not entirely sure I can blame him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. I do think it's. I do. The term I think they use politely rather than a control freak is an auteur. Because Hideo Kojima is one of these, David Cameron, David Cameron directed Terminator 2, and that's why it was the best Prime Minister this country's ever seen. But yeah, they have these things. If you listen to how The Abyss was put together and all the stuff that he did in The Abyss, you can hear that James Cameron's a control freak. These people who are artistic and they have their vision. There was their vision, They are very controlling in the way they want things put across. So I can understand that maybe not having as much control over what you want to do is a bit annoying. But at the same time, it does maybe comes across as a publicity stunt to show that he's paying attention to the rules, especially when you have all these people across the world. Like every Democrat-run area who's got like a Democrat leader, their leaders have broken the rules. You've got Nancy Pelosi with her haircut. You've got that creepy fucker in charge of California, Gavin Newsom, with his party at the French Laundry with the health officials, ironically. Then you've got Chris Cuomo, who was on the news, whose brother's the mayor of New York, and he's broken it too. And people have caught him in the streets and they've stopped him and said, "What are you doing?" Yeah. So it might be a publicity stunt so that he's not like them because he wants to separate himself from them. So I'm a bit iffy about this whole thing, but if I take it on face value, have you not lost? I know for a fact, Keith, you've lost it at work and you've behaved inappropriately, and I know that Nigel has inappropriately. But we were much younger.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the difference here, is that we have had those little outbursts. Yeah, we've all had those little outbursts, and that's because we were growing into men, shall we say, rather than being men. Yeah, because now we're men, we know that's not how you do things. Yeah, a calm word in the right ear at the right time means more than shouting and screaming.
I do think it did sound a bit. He didn't stop, and even when the recording ran out, he was still. He would calm down, and then he'd start getting angry again. And yeah, I don't know. I do find it intriguing.
You don't know what though. What you don't know is how many times the people who he was shouting at has been flaunting the rules and have been told what they need to do in order to continue working there. That's what we don't know. We don't know. They might have been told 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Who knows? And he might be well within his rights to shout at these fuckers because they've been told nicely many times. Treat them as children because clearly they are children.
Nice, but the minute you lose your temper like that, you lose the high ground. And as Gareth said, if you saw somebody, doesn't matter if it's the biggest prick in the office, right? If you're in the office and you saw somebody lose their temper like that at them, you would back the biggest prick in the office, because it's unprofessional. And
if I knew he was a prick to everyone, I'd be like, he deserves that.
Yeah, but you can't do it. You can't.
I'd still back the fuck that he did it because he's telling the dickhead exactly what for. Thing is, right, my take is there's probably rules and regulations, very strict ones, set in place for them to be able to film. If these people are not adhering to them and they have been told you need to adhere to them in order to make this film made, and they are not, that obviously Cruise has put a hell of a lot of money into this film to get it made. I think he's paying people's salaries as well.
He paid 500,000 quid for a ship.
He's really invested in making this film. Yeah. So the fact that he is so invested, obviously, it's not just him invested in making a film as you normally would as an actor. He's far more invested in it. He's emotionally invested because he's put so much on the line to get it made. And people going out of their way to not follow the rules that are set in place in order to make the film, otherwise they probably can't make the film, obviously have made Matt angry. Yeah, he could have said it in a different way, but he probably has, but we don't know because we've only got one recording. If there are records of every single time these people have been spoken to about it, and they've ignored it, then
okay, Nigel,
how can you know?
What if it's the opposite? And they haven't done anything wrong. And all they were doing is they leant over to look at a monitor to make sure a shot was right. What'd you do then?
Well, you just give them you don't need to shout at them. You just sort of say, to work here, you need to put mask on. You need to stay this. You need to do it in this fashion. Don't do it again, please.
Okay.
You don't need to shout in that fashion. You don't go straight to shouting. It's how we treat kids, isn't it? You tell them firmly a few times for the same thing, and on maybe the fourth, fifth time them doing the same stupid thing, you raise your voice at them. That's how we should have treated these morons.
Okay, that's a good place to leave it there. Nige, if you just go through the comments quickly before we move on to our next one.
Yep. I'm going to skip the bits about Keith and his City show. Dave, love the Mission Impossible movies. Remember when the first one came out in the cinema, second one was awesome too. Yeah, I like them. Me and the kids like them. And when I was in China last, we went to one of the areas that they filmed Mission Impossible. I can't remember which one. I think it's the one where his wife gets kidnapped.
That's the second film.
And
it's
they
not,
met.
It's not his wife. It's
near the end. I think.
Okay.
It's near the end, and they're on a bridge, a fancy Chinese. So I went to. It was quite cool, actually.
Oh, that was the third one. That's the one I really hated. The only good thing about that was it had Philip Seymour Hoffman in it, and the argument they had on the plane. That was the bit I liked about the film. I was only there's a couple of films I've almost walked out on, and that was one because I was getting annoyed with it because it just didn't feel like it was going anywhere. But he changed it up, changed directors, and everything worked out because you're Brad Bird in after that for the next two films, and he did seem to do a good job. And Tom Cruise also tends to piss out of his own height, which I appreciate.
He's a fellow shorty like me, although he's probably a couple of inches taller than me. So he probably suffers from short person syndrome more than me.
The last Mission Impossible film was really good, actually. I really enjoyed the last one.
I like the ones with Simon Pegg in as well. They're pretty good. Tom Cruise started life in Syracuse in neighborhood next month. So is that a place?
Yes, it's a place outside New York or inside New York, somewhere near New York.
New York State. It's about New York State.
Yeah, okay.
And going down, yeah, maybe it is Rona fatigue. The world's small. Cruise was acting presidential.
So, right, if you know the history of politics, politicians up until 1950 were really how can I put it, really poorly behaved. Winston Churchill, his example, and there's plenty of Americans, presidents, and that talking shit. It's fantastic if you look back at these things. Anyway, that was good enough. Let's move on to our next one, which is Gal Gadot. So, Gal Gadot reveals that she had her own experience, and I use that in air quotes, with Justice League director Joss Whedon. Gal Gadot recounted her experience with Joss Whedon and may beg to differ. I had my own experience with Joss Whedon, which wasn't the best. And someone stopped clicking on it to cover the text, which wasn't the best one. But I took care of it there and then when it happened, she told the Los Angeles Times. It sounds like Joss Whedon, again, we're coming back to this is the theme of the movie section, is directors and auteurs being dicks. Joss Whedon's career, I think, at the time, looked like it was pretty much over, given that he was a male feminist. And as we know, male feminists are scumbags, shall we say, in hiding. And they just use the tag to hide their poor behavior, especially in Hollywood. If someone from Hollywood comes out and says they're a male feminist, you go, I'm keeping the fucking kids away from you. And my wife. But you hear that sort of thing, they tend to be poorly behaved.
There has been some reports. There has been reports about Whedon recently. There has been.
But just a few things to note. Yeah, Joss Whedon came in to take over from Zack Snyder, whose daughter had died recently, which is tragic. And he was having to pick up all the loose ends and put them together. He was working on a schedule. Any delay to that schedule would cost the company money. And he's probably been told, you've got to save us as much money and get this film out across the line as soon as possible. So he was put in an impossible situation if we just look at it from just the task-orientated thing. So he was put in an impossible situation. He's got Ray, what's his mush, who plays Cyborg, who's what do you call it, a theatre actor, and he's sitting there trying to put his input in, and it's just like kind of yeah. We haven't got time for this, Ray. I've got to get this film out. Just do as you're fucking told, all right? Do as you're fucking told. You're never working again, all right? Good. We're on, and that's probably how we behave towards him. But he's also renowned to being a bit of a shit. But if you're in charge, I've always had this thing that arseholes do get things done. It's a fact. Arseholes get things done. It's a historical fact, especially the arsehole can be on your side or someone else's side. Look at who's that? Who's this guy in charge of Chelsea? Oh,
Mourinho.
Mourinho, yeah.
Mourinho.
I fucking hate Mourinho. Isn't an example of an arsehole getting something done? Yeah.
I loved it.
So
he's a dick, but he got stuff done. He did win stuff.
So
and he's still a dick.
Yeah. So, given the Justice League turned out to be an almighty $100 million turd, what do you think about this Joss Whedon stuff, Keith?
I haven't liked Joss Whedon for a while. Justice League, you know how he proclaims to be a male feminist, but then changed all the Amazonian costumes to be a hell of a lot more sexy, bikini-like, and show a lot more skin and less practical than the costumes that they had in the first Wonder Woman.
No, you didn't do the Joss Whedon ones. The Joss Whedon ones were like kind of 80s pin-up ones.
Yeah, they were, but they were bad in the respect of that they changed them, and yet he calls himself a feminist. I'm not surprised by this at all. By all accounts, the guy's become a bit of a dick. I think with the second Avengers movie not doing so well, that's when his career started spiraling. The Batwoman film that he was meant to be making hasn't transpired. I wonder why.
Yeah, because I watched the CW Batwoman and went, fuck no.
No, it was just before this, and this was meant to be Barbara Gordon, not the lesbian virtue signaling bullshit.
Yeah, I know, but it was an example of it not going quite right.
I really don't care. I don't think much of Joss Whedon these days. The best thing he ever did was Firefly. And as much as they brought the movie back, they killed off one of my favorite characters in it, so I was annoyed at him for that. Good on. I think Gal Gadot is a nice person. I don't think she's lying, and I don't think she's trying to get publicity for anything really. Although, okay, Wonder Woman's about to come out, so having her name in the press, but I don't think she's a bad person. So she's not Gwyneth Paltrow. She's come out and said it almost straight away. She's not like, oh, he sexually did stuff to me, and then she made a further 7 fucking films with the guy. No, it's not that. So
no, she turned around and said, "Look, if he did something out of order," he went, "No, fucking stop that, Whedon. Stop that shit now." And he was like, "All right."
So I was reading into the article a little bit more, and there's an image in there of where Wonder Woman is on the floor, and they've put the Flash on top of him like that, and Gal Gadot said, "I'm not doing that. I'm not comfortable with doing that." And then they got a stunt double in to do it as well, and the stunt double was saying, "I'm not really comfortable with that either." That's why her face is away from the screen, and you don't see the face. And Joss had threatened both of them with ruining their careers if they don't do the shots, with Flash being on top of them. Apparently, that is one of the things.
So he's a dick.
Further down in that article. So, trying to make them do it is literally genital to genital. It's not like this, like it's genital to genital.
Genital to genital. They got clothes on.
Yeah. But if they're not comfortable with it,
on top of each other. Hang on a second. I'd just like to point out that these actors are getting paid millions.
Yeah, but if they're not comfortable with the shot, they shouldn't have to do it. And in this day and age, I agree with it.
That's part of the fucking contract, mate.
No, it's not.
Oh no, yes, it is. No, it is. You pay.
If it's specifically written into the contract, yes, it's part of the contract.
If it's in the script that they signed off on, then yes, that's it. You've agreed to it beforehand.
Well, 2 separate people have said about that.
Yeah, I know, but
team.
actors are paid to do shit like this. They embarrass themselves constantly. That's what they're supposed to do. Actors and prostitutes were considered the same in Greece. Yeah, and I'm not joking when I say that. And there's a reason for that. You're my dancing monkey. Dance for me, monkey.
That's it.
That's what you've paid to do. Imagine a race driver, who says, you know what, I'm just going to drive until I empty the tank of petrol, ain't coming back in for a fill up during a Formula One race. You tell them to fuck off. It's the same with actors. And he was right to say, if you're not going to do it, fuck off. Yeah? Because just what you expect actors to do. Yeah?
But you don't know that you don't know it wasn't in the contract, which I suspect it wasn't. I also suspect that the shot wasn't it wasn't mentioned in that kind of level of detail in the script. So therefore, you can't think
it wasn't a sex scene. That's the thing. It wasn't a sex scene. It was one of those supposed to be kind of slightly risque, awkward moments. Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be. It's not the end of the world. Jesus Christ, that's not something to fucking throw you proud.
In actual fact, it wouldn't have been in the script, because if it was a Joss Whedon shot, when they all signed the contracts and everything, it was all when Zack Snyder was making it. So, but I don't know. I know that Joss Whedon is meant to be a bit of a dick, and
if you want to get around it and you want to make it less awkward, you can put a couple of bits of wood. You can have like a wooden thing so the flash actor can lay on the fucking wood, and the guys who build the sets can do it like that because they're that bloody good. And if you've ever worked with these people who've done that, they can mock up things really quickly. I'm praying my wife never chats to one of them because she'll probably fucking run off with them. Because she likes building things. You've seen the bar in the garden and the shit that she's been building. So yeah. All right, so let's end it there. I don't know if you've got any comments on that one.
We got one actually from somebody here called Tanif. As Casey Sackhoff said, if it's in the contract and script, then fine. If it's not and they add it in later, it's not on. And that's what I was alluding to, essentially.
Okay.
If he added it in later that was going to happen, then I think it would take him by surprise and probably go, not happy with that. Yeah. It's not in the contract. I don't need to do that. But you're adding it in and forcing me to, I'm not happy. So.
Okay. And with that, we move on to our next section. Zack Snyder revealed when the Justice League will arrive on HBO Max. Have a guess.
2025 at this rate, knowing Zack Snyder.
March 2021. Yep.
Okay.
It's coming 2021 to HBO Max. I have no idea how it's going into the other bits. I didn't get to look too much into the article last night. But it is nice to know that it is coming out. It is real. I think because the way they've done it, because they split it up into sections, they might be releasing it like quarterly. So that'd be the cheeky way of doing it, to release it quarterly to keep people kind of, hanging on for HBO Max, or monthly, maybe. That might actually work out better if we do it monthly rather than quarterly, because that would stop you from cancelling your subscription. One day we'll find out how to get HBO Max in this country, but until then, we're stuck with Sky Atlantic. And Now TV. It probably will be on Now TV, I imagine, for a fee. All right. That was a really quick thing into TVs. We're going to gaming now. And Nigel gets second seat. Woohoo!
Check that out. I moved.
Yeah, you moved. So, Cyberpunk. What a fucking story with Cyberpunk and its release. It was the most anticipated game of the year, full stop. It was the most anticipated game of the year, full stop. I'm just putting a video that Bapsta did of him unboxing the thing, his brother unboxing the collector's edition, because it looks fucking awesome and I'm having it run in the background. Bapsta probably won't mind. Cyberpunk was supposed to come out, and it was supposed to come out this year, about February time, for what was PS4 and the Xbox One, alongside the PC. Delayed because they're having trouble making it. Delayed because Rona, etc., etc. It's come out, and bag of shite. And the strange thing with it coming out and it being a bag of shite is that before it came out, people weren't allowed access to the console builds of this game. Yeah, so the console builds of this game were like the Xbox One and the PS4, but they weren't allowed access to the PC ones. And the reason is that the console ones were shit. They also delayed everything they could. So it was a case of you could take stills from the game, but you couldn't take video from the game. So when you hear that you're not allowed that until the review embargo, that becomes like an issue. And you know, if you're not allowed to review it and not allowed to put the stuff out on the day, then there's a problem with it. So that happened, and then we got the pre-order news come through. 8 million copies of this was sold, and it was the biggest launch on PC. 59% of these were on PC. Yeah, so 60% of that 8 million, which I can't do the maths with because I'm suffering from low energy at the moment, were were PC games, and 74% of that, all those games sold, were digital. So people were buying it on the Xbox One digital store, PS4 digital store, and not PlayStation, Steam's set up and good old games set up for Cyberpunk. Now, it was launched. It had loads of launch issues, and I mean loads of launch issues. And I'm gonna have to stop this lovely video because you're not going to see the right hand before we go. Where's the cool bit? There's the cool bit. All right, so we've got this bit here. This is
Ooh,
it's that. You need to see the whole thing as a thing as a whole. All right, so he's got the statue, and I'll come back to the story because I need to. There you go. So it's got like leaping off a bike, smashing it into someone. That is super sweet.
Awesome.
And that was from Bapsta Arcade. I'll put a link in there for that video if you want to go and see it. So, have I done it right? Yeah, so it was marred by launch problems. So it came out, and it was just a buggy mess, as bad as Fallout 76. So, CD Projekt Red were, how can I put it? They were a darling in the eyes of the gamers. And now they are as good as EA and Activision because of everything that's gone on. So the game came out, it was launch problems left, right, center. The PS4 and the Xbox One version practically unplayable. You could play it on the Xbox X series and the PS5 because of the upscaling and whatnot, but still there were crashes. There's a guy called Hill versus Babyface. He showed a video of him just constantly falling through the bloody floor. And I've seen other videos of people driving along and all of a sudden the car shoots up 200 feet into the air. No apparent reason behind it. Just lots of bugs all over the console one. There's still bugs in the PC version, but there are so many bugs in the console version, it's practically unplayable. So naturally, the fallout started happening. You've got people review bombing and people losing their mouse, so they can't change to the next story. I will find it. There it is. So you've got people review bombing it, and there's vitriol all over, and there's articles about X, Y, and Z going wrong. And then, just over a week into it, Sony pull it from the PlayStation Store. Yeah. CD Projekt Red have turned around to everyone and said, look, try and get refunds for it. We're really sorry. There's a problem with refunds. And it's called chargeback. Okay. So if you do a transaction or something for a game, so say we sell 8 million copies of a game. Yeah. So they're credit card transactions or debit card transactions. Yeah. And then you need to refund those. Yeah. The credit card company or the debit card company handling those transactions will charge you to give money back to the person. And it's usually it could be anything from 15 cents to $2, depending on who you're dealing with. So they're called chargebacks. So those games have gone through, and Sony and Microsoft, who have delivered this game digitally, have had to refund off of the PlayStation Store and the Microsoft Store. And every time they're refunding, they're losing money, and they have nothing to show for it. So they're pissed. So Sony have looked at it and gone, this is just costing us fucking money. Pull it. So they've pulled it. CD Projekt Red said that they were working with Sony in order to try and sort this out, because I imagine Sony was sitting there going, we're getting charged money. Microsoft may have their own payment vendor, so that might not be such an issue. But Microsoft did that sneaky thing that they do in the console world, where they wait and they go, "Yep, Sony have pulled it, we can pull it too." And then they've started offering refunds and bits too. It's been an absolute disaster. There have been stocks being plummeted out of control in regards to CD Projekt Red. And it's just insane where this company that everyone thinks are darling because of The Witcher 3, and especially with The Witcher TV series and everything, everyone then The Witcher 3 and the books and everything starts shooting through the roof because everyone liked that TV series. They got to the point of doing Cyberpunk and it didn't work. Now, I've heard a lot of people turn around and say, "Oh, they should have only have done it for next generation consoles." I hate to tell you, it's been in development for 7 fucking years, mate. Yeah, it should have come out this time last year. There wasn't a next generation. Okay, there wasn't a next generation. There is another thing too, that what you get now is you get programmers who program for a platform. Sky, is that me? Yeah, it's me. Who's calling me? Someone's calling me on Skype. Hang on a second. My screen's blinking to indicate that someone's calling me on Skype. Oh, whoever you are, you're a scumbag. Oh, I have no idea who that is, so I'm gonna.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So that looks a bit. That looks a bit dodgy.
Anywho, going back to the story. Yeah. So Microsoft cancelled it. It's been in development for years. Yeah, it should have been ready for next generation consoles. Yeah, and the problem is we've got programmers who program for a code set. Yeah, so you get them to program for the Unreal Engine. Yeah, and then the Unreal Engine is then supposed to do all the donkey work in order to optimize it to go to the console. Now we know this because when you look at the PlayStation exclusives and you see how well they run in comparison to like the Xbox exclusives and stuff, especially when you have the PS3. PS3 demonstrated that if you optimize the games from the exclusives like Uncharted, The Last of Us, Killzone 2 and 3, you could get graphics that you wanted, but you'd have to optimize it for the platform. CD Projekt Red looked like they've done no optimization for the platform. They look like they built it for the PC onwards. They then pushed it through the dev kits, and the dev kits have just spat out garbage on the other side. Now, if I was Sony and Microsoft, I would be sending nerds to their rescue saying, "We'll pull the game. We're going to send some guys here, and they're going to help you fucking optimize it, yeah? And then you're going to give us some kind of exclusive contact, even if it's just a hat, right? And try and sort it out." I've watched Bapsta play on Cyberpunk on his channel, and it's quite a good channel, and not quite a good game, and the channel's quite good too. And it looked all right, but he's playing the PC version, not the PS4 version. So there's a lot of kind of hoo-ha in regards to this. It feels very Fallout 76. It has gone to absolute shite, but I think we're going to get more of a No Man's Sky story where the guys knuckled down, sorted their shit out, and got on with it, rather than a Fallout 76, which just was shit for ages.
But it works well on the next gen consoles, I hear.
Nope, doesn't work well on next gen consoles. Because all it's doing is it's playing the PS4 unoptimized version on the PS5. It just means it has more horsepower, so it doesn't crash as much.
Fair enough.
So yeah, sorry, man, to put it down like that. That sounds like a fucking savage put down. Then
I read it on I was reading about it on one of the things the other day, and it said that the problems were for the older consoles and not the next gen. But okay, fair enough.
They haven't built next gen versions. They didn't need to build next gen versions because it should have been here last year. That's it. It was the reason I called it Cyberpunk 2077 is because that's probably when they would have finished it by. That's the joke. A year after Fallout 76. Nige, this is where I ask you your opinion because you're sitting in the second chair.
I am. I'm sitting in the second chair. Well, essentially, it shouldn't have been released. If it's fine for the PC, release it on the PC only, but don't release on the consoles until it's been optimized, tested, and so forth. Loads of people have downloaded this this game digitally. And I've seen so many reports, so many articles of people trying to get a refund from Sony for the faulty shitfest that is Cyberpunk 2077. And Sony flat out refusing on the basis that the product had been downloaded. And they saying, no, you've downloaded it, you can't have a refund. And they're going, but it's faulty. How was I to know it was faulty without downloading and trying it? I went, no, it's our policy, no refund. They wouldn't get away with that in the UK for sure, because we've got different regulations than the US. But at first, Sony was not at all providing any kind of refund. There might be a lucky one or two people who might have, I'm exaggerating a bit, one or two, but there might be a few people who got refunds from Sony. But the majority of people were just not given refunds, despite the problems.
I've got stories here over the last 2 days that say that they have been being issued refunds. I think it was the moment they pulled it from the store, they started issuing refunds for it.
When they pulled it, yes, I think so. But before that, they were going, no problem here, blinkers on, no problem here, you've downloaded it. No, why would a policy be if you've downloaded a digital thing and it doesn't work on your system that you can't have a refund? How do you know it doesn't work without trying it? You can't. It's impossible to know if a program that you've downloaded works prior to loading it on your PC or your console. You cannot. So I just don't understand that policy from Sony. It's one of the reasons why this generation, I was so adamant I wanted a disc copy of a console.
I just thought I'd look this up. So
no, there's also another bit to this now, because CD Projekt Red are now getting sued by the investors who put money into the console based on the fact that they were told by CD Projekt Red upper management that what they're going to put out runs perfectly, and so hence they were lied to. And they got more investment off the back of that in order to get that out. So
I just pulled this up from the Sony site because I was curious. I've never had to refund anything from the Sony site, I'll be honest with you.
Yes, no, I haven't.
And it's like kind of, after purchasing this type of content, you have 14 days from purchase to request a refund. If you start to download the stream or purchase content, you will not be eligible for refund unless the content is faulty.
Yes, and I've seen so many screenshotted conversations with Sony representative saying you're not allowed a refund, you've downloaded it, and they go, but it's faulty, and they go, you can't have a refund, but it's faulty. No, sorry, you can't have a refund. Is there anything else I can help you with? Their own wording, it's widely known that this game is faulty on last gen, and it shouldn't have been released until it was ready to be released and working fine. They should have just held off. I think gamers and everyone would have appreciated it a hell of a lot more, for sure.
I think that I do think that Sony and Microsoft should get in touch with CD Projekt Red and get this shit sorted. All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through a few comments before we move on to our next section?
Yeah, we've had Bapsta join us just as we were looking through his lovely video unboxing of the game we were just talking about. It looks quite cool. I'm going to watch that actually. Yeah, he's a PC master race and he feels so sorry. Yeah. Apparently, there's a patch today. I don't know how much they fixed.
It's so funny. As a guy called It's a Gundam, and I listened to him because he said the patch came out today for the PC, and it's made his version unplayable now, which was fine before. I think May. Are we ready in May?
Do you know this bit here springs to mind? As long as CD Projekt Red fix it like Hello Games has fixed No Man's Sky, then all will be forgotten. I don't think it will be forgotten, but people might we appreciate the amount of work that Hello Games has put into No Man's Sky because we're all playing it. Now it's a hell of a lot better. If CD Projekt Red does do this and they put out 3 patches in to fix it initially anyway, and then like Hello Games, they've put out expansions for free, I think then it'll be going a long way to being forgotten or bygones or whatever. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. if there's another company outside of Bethesda with Fallout 76 who have actually done something like this. I think I heard and like a big release
Battlefront
like
2 they sorted out Battlefront 2.
There was
Disney fucking breathing down their neck.
I know Anthem came out and that was
that wasn't fixed. They had a Cataclysm event which was supposed to be the fix, and then
never did.
Just went away.
Just gave up on so not very good. Yeah. So and he said he wishes that he was the one that was calling you instead of Skype.
Yeah, so I'll have to find out who called me after this.
But his PC actually struggles to play the game or play it while streaming. It's a bit of a beast.
You seemed to be fine this morning when you were playing it, because I was watching you play it this morning. I was too tired to comment, but I was just watching you having a playthrough this morning when you're in that kind of looked like a warehouse or something. It was funny because one of your thing was one of your objectives was wait till lockdown finishes. I was thinking, Christ, been waiting a fucking long time to get past that mission.
Do you know what? I was one of the bugs that didn't amuse me, but made me wonder what was actually going on. They started wondering about the police and how quickly the police were turning up after committing a crime, and how they would know about something when it was inside a closed room, how they were found out, and they decided to test it. So they went inside an enclosed lift, and just a lift, and they committed a crime in the lift, and the door shut, and police were spawning inside the lift. And so they tested it further and started going to the top of a roof, and they shot someone from the top of the roof. It's quite high up.
Yeah.
And what happened was police were just spawning on the roof, and he's like, it's broken. It needs a more GTA type thing where they're going, oh, let's search him out and find him. You know, it was a bit like Oblivion, like you kill a chicken and suddenly every guard's on your tail, immediate. But it was worse than that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so with our Cyberpunk 2077, which I don't think will be over until May, we'll be talking about this off and on until then, until I get things fixed. There'll be some mad shit going in there. I'm just hoping it'll be customer focused and a little bit better. So moving on to our next bit, which is the reviews. So this is where I expect Keith to be awake because he looks like he fell asleep.
No, I wasn't. I was listening.
Sent you a text and everything, and you were like,
"No, I didn't get any text."
You did. He's like, I didn't get a text. Yes, you did. Anyway, right, and I'm moving to the second chair. Okay, so we've got the Mandalorian to talk about. Have you watched the Mandalorian, Keith? For fuck's sake.
Yes, I have.
Nige, have you watched the Mandalorian?
I haven't got Sky, Disney Plus. That's the one. Disney Plus. I haven't got it.
Cheapskate.
No, it's this week is the week that I'm going to get it. So I've got it over the Christmas period, and
pull your earplugs out there.
It doesn't matter. I've written the fucking spoiler in the show notes, mate.
I saw you mentioning notes on that, and also the next story, the next review thing as well. And I skimmed past it very quickly.
Have you watched The Expanse?
No, I haven't seen that. I didn't even know that was out until I was setting up my new router. And
right, anyway.
I was like, oh, if I had a pop-up going, thingy's out. Oh.
You know what? You're out. You're out.
You're out. You were asleep on camera. Right. Okay. So Mandalorian. Watched it lunchtime. So I was chewing down my lunch at Friday.
Yeah. Everybody was like, have you seen the Mandalorian yet? Have you seen it? It's like, no, leave me alone. Don't spoil it.
So I asked you to call me back, and you fucking didn't, you bastard.
I watched it like 1 o'clock in the morning. So
anyway, you didn't call me back Saturday either. You had opportunity, text, something, nothing. Anyway, Mandalorian, sitting down there chewing through my lunch because I'm working from home and I'm watching Mandalorian. I'm like, kind of, okay, it's taking over the thingy. So that's interesting. Blah 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 blah. And it starts getting towards the end of the Mandalorian, and a few questions are popping up. It's like, kind of, when are those fucking dark troopers coming back? Because they can fly. Yeah, that was the first question. When are they coming back? Because they'll fly. And it's like, kind of, oh yeah, it's dramatic timing. It'll happen when something has to stop them or become an object. And that happened as predicted. So they went through. We did, they had the thing with that. So we had the how can I put it? They looked very, very like the top part of them looked very Warhammer 40k Space Marines, and I'm like, oh, we upset. All right, Nigel can't listen. He's not listening to this, but we upset some 40k people because they thought I said that the chainsaw was ripped off from Gears of War and not in Gears of War. And they were very kind of, no, don't say that. Chainsaw came first. It was back in the 80s. Like, yeah, no, that's what I was saying. So I imagine those guys are going to be very fucking upset with this. So we watched that. They get into the bridge and whatnot. He has the fight with Gus Fring, and he beats him and takes the dark saber. Now, I'd just like to point out the dark saber. Yeah, it's not the Elder Wand from fucking Harry Potter. All right. The Elder One from Harry Potter has rules, yeah, and you have to defeat another wizard in combat in order to wield the Elder Wand. If I remember correctly, Sabine recovered the Darksaber from some tomb and gave it to Bo-Katan, and she literally just handed it over. There you go.
Sabine got it from. Sabine won it.
I watched that episode, and she went into the temple and she recovered the Darksaber.
It was in Darth Maul's. Darth Maul had it, and she beat Darth Maul, didn't she? Darth Maul had it in Rebels. He had the Darksaber. So whether he lost it and it ended up in the thing, but initially, the first time you see the Darksaber in Rebels, it was with in Darth Maul's hideout layer.
Yeah. Well, the long and the short of it, she didn't win in combat.
I thought she did, but okay. We'll
leave. Anyway, the long and the short of it, she gave it to Bo-Katan.
Yeah, she did.
Who then lost it in combat. And then it became the Elder One from fucking Harry Potter. So they changed the fucking rules on that. That annoyed me. The bit where Boba Fett is in the bar, he should have kicked the shit out of What's-a-Mush. Yeah? I what they did then pissed me off. That really pissed me off because he should have kicked the shit out of her. Yeah, you get the shit out of her and put her in a place. But because we can't have that these days. Yeah, we can't have the older person who knows what they're doing kick the shit out of the younger person because they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, that's what it should have been. Really pissed me off. That did. Watched and then, as I said, got onto the bridge and everything seemed to happen on that bridge. So the old Dark Troopers came back in for a bit of kind of a bit of tension and whatnot. So they've come flying back in. And then they're on the bridge, and all of a sudden something zooms past them, and you can see quite clearly it's an X-wing, and it lands. And I'm looking at it, going, "They're not going to do fucking Luke Skywalker." Me and you talked, about who was going to come to their rescue. I believed it was going to be Ezra Bridger because of Dave Filoni, and you believed it was going to be Mace Windu. We both decided. No, you said it was Mace Windu. With the amount of shit I've given you for that, you said it was Mace Windu. Yeah, but we both wanted it to be Luke Skywalker. And we both agreed that they wouldn't do it. That's what we came to the conclusion. They're not going to do it. That's what we want. We're not going to get that. Comes on, guy in a hood suit. You can't tell if it's. I'm thinking, is that? We'll find out in a moment who it is when they unsheath the lightsaber and comes through. Green lightsaber comes down. No, it's not Luke Skywalker. And they're glitching the fucking screens and everything to see. And Nigel doesn't want to be listening to this bit. All right, and they're glitching out so you can't see that it's clearly Luke fucking Skywalker. And then he comes up and he reveals his head, and they've deep faked him, and it's not like the rubbery face they did for Moff Tarkin and for Leia in Rogue One. It was deep fake, so it looks more realistic until he has to do that.
Yeah, I thought it was worse than Moff Tarkin in Rogue One. I thought it was considerably worse, actually. I thought it was really bad CGI.
This is a TV series, Keith, remember?
Yeah,
but months, they've got weeks. They've got a couple of weeks to get this shit together.
Yeah, but it wasn't good. But it was cool seeing him fight, but yeah, I don't know. It's slightly that slightly ruined it for me because it didn't look. And I know that was Mark Hamill voicing him, but it didn't sound like it at times.
That wasn't Mark Hamill voicing him.
What wasn't
that
it?
Was someone else. No, that was someone else. I'm sure that was someone else. That wasn't Mark Hamill. He had him credited in it because they used his image, but that wasn't Mark Hamill.
There you go.
No, because his voice is more Joker-like than it is fucking Luke Skywalker-like now because of age. But you can run those voices through synthesizers and stuff like that because I've heard if you Jordan Peterson had one, a text-to-speech Jordan Peterson, and that was it. So when they deep-faked, spoiler, deep-faked Luke Skywalker, he keeps trying to put his headphone back in, deep-fakes Luke Skywalker, it was, how can I put it, it was iffy, but I think it looked better than a rubbery Moff Tarkin.
Yes.
I think because I've seen a deep-fake Moff Tarkin that they did, which they had longer to do, and a deep-fake Moff Tarkin looked better, and it's literally it's the eyes that it fixes the eyes. And that's the problem, is with the Uncanny Valley part of it is the eyes. And then you sort of the voice out and this, that, and the other. That was one thing. All right, so he did that. Baby Grogu went off. He took his helmet off so he could show Baby Grogu's face, because Baby Grogu was like, show me your face. Remember, what was it? Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
Remember the Klaatu, what his name was, the telepath in that? I can't remember his something name. Yeah, who was like inside the person.
Yeah.
And he put his hand out. Open your mind. Yeah, it reminded me of that. I looked at that and went, shit. It's like, it's a bit freaky. That's what I had in my head. I was thinking there's like a half man, half baby thing.
Your whole dark saber thing though is why the next series is going to be Din Djarin and not Boba Fett.
Hold on. I haven't got to that bit yet, Keith. There's an order I'm following. It's chronological. Okay? So they get that. Gus Fring tries to kill fucking Baby Yoda, so naturally Mandalorian jumps in front of him. I missed that bit out. And then Luke, he shows up, and then he shows his face to Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker says, I'll look after him, and then fucks off. And we know he doesn't look after him because they all die in the fucking sequel trilogy. So, bye-bye, Baby Yoda, you're dead. Grogu. All right. Not good. And then we had I don't like the music in The Mandalorian. I think it's shit. Yeah. But they had like a more kind of orchestrated kind of melancholy thing of this. Gets to the end and then shows you a Marvel style thing where it says the Book of Boba Fett. All right. And I looked at it and I went, is this Mandalorian season 3? Because we might have finished the book off, because this is a good place to finish the book off. Is this a separate series? Or, more importantly, is Boba Fett the bad guy for the next season of The Mandalorian? What is it? Yeah,
They haven't said. Most people think it's a mini series that's going to feature Boba Fett, and it's one of the ones that they didn't mention at Disney because they only mentioned 6, but they announced 10. Yeah. So I'm going to assume that because The Mandalorian season 3 is heavily rumored to still be, well, you've got the whole dark saber thing. You've got to cover that Bo-Katan story. Yeah. They've introduced a whole new thread there. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you what it is. Do you want me to tell you what it is?
Go on.
Boba Fett is the bad guy for the next TV series.
Possibly.
When the last thing of The Mandalorian ended, what was it? It was Moff Gideon getting out of his broken TIE fighter. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you set up, here's the bad guy for the next season. Boba Fett is the bad guy for the next series. It's The Mandalorian, the book of Boba Fett, when the Mandalorian goes up against Boba Fett. That's what I think it is. I think we might get a special where we get to see Boba Fett be a gangster and do lots of gangster things until he shows up, starts becoming a bit of a menace. So it'll be like kind of his rise and then his fall, and then the Mandalorian turns up and it's his job to fight him. That makes an interesting dynamic considering that they were friends.
No,
anyway,
you could be.
Sorry, I had to say some bits there.
You could be right. I thought the Luke sort of fucking lame waste an entire Dark Troopers was cool. I think it would have been cooler if it had been Ezra Bridger. And that's the thing. I 100%. Yes, I do. Because I don't.
If the ghost had turned up and landed instead, and Ezra Bridger came out, you'd think that's.
I would have preferred it to be Bridger because I don't. The reason I didn't think they could do Luke Skywalker is you can't do Luke Skywalker, and the CGI for me just didn't look good. It didn't sound like Luke Skywalker. It wasn't Luke Skywalker, you know. And I didn't think Hamill voiced him, and that's the thing. And Hamill should have voiced him, and it was dodgy CGI, and it just didn't work for me. You know, you could have cast an actor as Ezra Bridger and brought Ezra Bridger in. That's where everybody thought it was going, because, you know, you've got Thorne is obviously back. You've got Ahsoka looking for Thorne, and I know they're probably saving Bridger and Sabine for the Ahsoka series. I know that, but I can see why that. I think that was one step too far for the fan pleasing, in my opinion. I know that I'm going to be in the minority here, but I just didn't like the CGI of Luke, and it just didn't work for me. It wasn't Luke Skywalker. It didn't feel like Luke Skywalker. It was dodgy CGI. You know, the Jedi fight. Yeah, it was really bad. You know, I mean, the South Park guys do better fucking deep fakes with Trump.
It's brilliant. That's the best deep fake. The Julie Andrews, what was it? Perfect, almost perfect in that.
Oh, you haven't seen the latest one of Trump's Christmas address about two reindeers. Have you not seen that yet?
Yeah, no, I've seen that. That's hilarious.
Oh, it's amazing. Christmas was gone forever.
The reindeer died, and then there was no more Christmas ever. Okay. All right. Let's just wrap the Mandalorian up and move on to the Expanse, because I've got lots to talk about when it comes to the Expanse.
Oh, here we go.
Have you not seen the page notes that I've written?
Yes, I have.
I broke it down by character because that's how I heard about them in the books. All right.
Go on.
All right. Nigel, you can come back in. We're talking about the Expanse. Let's just gesture him in. You won't understand what I'm saying anyway. All right. So the Expanse, first 3 episodes dropped on Sci-Fi. I keep forgetting which camera I'm using. Dropped on Sci-Fi. Dropped on Amazon. Sorry. Ah, my God. It's great. You have to understand that these 3 episodes are the setup to 2 seasons worth of stuff. So Marco, I keep wanting to call him Marcos, but Marco Inaros is the big bad, and the actor they picked is fantastic for it. He was not really in the 3 episodes whatsoever, considering that he's the guy responsible for all this shit that's going down. And nor was the other bad guy. He's also responsible for all the shit going down. So we've got Holden and Naomi and Bobby and Alex and Christian and Amos, and they are all separate. They're all over the solar system in separate locations. You've got Bobby and Alex on Mars. You've got Amos on Earth. You've got Christian on Moon. You've got Naomi on Palace Station, and you've got Holden on Tycho Station. Now, Holden has come across some conspiracy because people are trying to find samples of the proto-molecule. And he knows that Fred has samples of the proto-molecule, but he doesn't know what he's been doing with it. And Fred clearly doesn't, doesn't mind saying that he's got it and he's been doing something, and he wouldn't deny it, yeah? Because he has been doing stuff. Him and Anderson Dawes have been, working on this to try and get the most out of it. And there are things that he can get out of this, yeah? And we've got that happening, and on that we've got the reporter lady, I can't remember her name, and she's investigating into it, and she's clearly ruffling a few feathers here and there with things going on. So we've got that, and that's cool. That's really cool knowing that this stuff's going on. I know what's going on. Fred Johnson has a sample of proto-molecule in his office, but nobody knows apart from Fred. And that will come in later. All right. And that is in his office. All right. And they're trying to find out, long short, that these people are trying to find out where they are. They are Belters, but they are working on behalf of some Martians. But we'll get to that later. And then you've got Naomi. Naomi's been separated from her son since she was born. Now, if you notice, when you see on the moon, there is a crater with a hologram in it as a memorial to a ship that blew up on the landing pad because its fusion reactor went critical as it took off. Naomi was responsible for that. She committed an act of terrorism with Marco. Yeah, Marco took some of the code that you can use to rewrite the firmware for drive engines and stuff, and used that to send the reactor critical for the moment they took off. And it turned to a big disaster, and there's a big kind of memorial for it there and then. So she feels that's why she feels guilty. That's the reason she ran away to Canterbury and so forth and so on. And that's the reason that when the Martians interviewed her in the first season, they were like, kind of, no, she's a fucking terrorist. We know, because she hangs around with Inara slot. Fantastic. She buys a ship that she plans on giving to Philip, so Philip can get out from under the shadow of his tyrannical father, Marco. It's not good. And her friends that she meets in Palace Station are responsible for destroying a UN. I don't know if it's a space station or sort of like an observer ship, that scientific observer ship that was looking for rogue asteroids and objects flying around the solar system. And they managed to track one of the stealth meteors that passed by the sun, because they're all in like orbits, in these decaying orbits as they come flinging around towards Earth. And because of the sun, it cracked up, and they're having trouble reading it. And that's ironic because Avasarala knows something is up. Yeah, she can't adjust to a new position because she's now in charge of the expansion into the space gate, so she's got no power. And knowing the fact that she loved playing spy games and this, that, and the other, she can't handle it. She has an admiral aside, a guy called Admiral Delgado. I can't imagine that's not a reference to the Doctor Who villain of John Pertwee's era, Robert Delgado, who played the Master. I think is the case, because there's lots of other things. There's also a hint to an episode of The Simpsons in regards to a food trolley that Homer Simpson went to Japan, and it was serving weird shit. That was on Mars, and then the fact that Amos has got Adolphus Mercury's bag from the previous series, and he's just written his name over the top of his, which was like a nice little funny thing there. Anyway, she's having trouble with her new job. She's hired Bobby to be a spy on Mars, and Bobby can't do spy work. She can't keep secrets. She likes being straightforward and honest with people, and this, that, and the other. It's driving her fucking nuts. Yeah, she has trouble lying to people. She's burning through contacts. She pisses off Alex when they fucking meet up in the retro bar and whatnot. Yeah, and she can't do it. Yeah, she's she is investigating one of the lecturers at Mars, who's I can't remember if he's a general or a colonel or something, who does like kind of things. And Alex goes to approach him, and he just fucking tells Alex to fuck off. Yeah, because you stole a fucking Martian frigate, you can piss off. Yeah, and it's like his aide comes up to him and starts talking to him and says, "Oh, he's only jealous because you're the first Martian to pilot a ship to the ring gate. You're first," and he's got a list of all these things that Alex has done, and Alex is like, kind of, "Oh, I didn't think of it like that. It was just another day for me. I was just trying to survive." He's a list of all these massive accomplishments, which means that he'll be in history books and the other guy will fucking just vanish. That was a great way for this woman to get in with Alex. And Alex explains to this woman whilst drunk that even a tiny smidgen of the proto-molecule will wake up the proto-molecule aliens' machines. And she's very keen in that. It's almost like they found, say, a proto-molecule machine of very important interest on another planet, say like Laconia or something like that, that might need to be woken up by a sample of proto-molecule, which they might need from, say, the Belters, who are looking into it with Fred Johnson, which is all fantastic because it all comes together and it's all like a really great spy thriller thing, and I'm so excited to watch it. Then we've got Amos, and Amos has got more characterization in this series and in probably the books than he'll ever get anywhere, because something happens in the previous book, which I'm not happy with. All right. So Amos goes back to Earth. He goes back to Boston. He meets the woman who brought him up, who's the surrogate mother, we'll say. He meets her boyfriend, who's been looking after and spending the last decade of decade together. It's funny because the actor they picked is the one that I pictured in my head when I was going through the book. So when I saw it, I went, oh, this is the first time that actually matched what I thought in my head into what was on screen. So he comes back and he finds out that some gangster's shaking him down because the gangster promised the woman the house, and now she's dead. He's kicking him out. And actually, Amos turns up to meet this guy, this one-armed fella. I can't remember his bloody name now. Now, Amos's name's not Amos. His name is Timmy. And Timmy had a really rough fucking life. Yeah, he was sexually abused and whatnot, to the point that one day he snapped and it looked like he killed someone. And that was the day that Amos said that he stopped feeling fear. Yeah, and he killed someone, and that's when the woman brought him up and tried to make it good. Anyway, Amos killed Timothy, who is Amos in the show, killed a gangster mob enforcer who was alluded to at the end of the third series called Amos Burton, and took his place and then fucked off into space. Now, he had an agreement with this gangster that he wouldn't come back to Earth. So when he hears that Amos has come back to Earth, he thinks that, fuck, he's coming to take back my territory. He's coming back to fuck me off. And he comes back and he says to him, goes, no, mate, I wasn't there. I wasn't there not here to take your stuff. I just want you to make sure that he gets the house. He gets the house and you leave him alone. And he went, oh, thank God for that. So he pours him a drink, and the drink's like really good. It's like, this is really nice. So Amos just picks it up and fucks off with it. Which is a great character bit of development. And then at the end of the episode, end of episode 3, the first rock falls. I think it's one of 11 that are targeted to hit the planet. Now, Avasarala was pissed that she was put on the moon and kept away from Earth. And after this first rock drops, she's going to be fucking glad that she was on the moon. And I loved the crap out of that. I did. It was great. I've watched it twice. That was that good. I couldn't stop talking either.
I liked the first 3 episodes. I thought they were very good. Avasarala will clearly become the boss again because the stupid cow on Earth is probably about to get a rock dropped on her head. So that was interesting. Naomi kind of annoyed me a bit, but then Naomi does. She was less annoying in season 4, but she was really annoying in season 3, and she was a bit annoying again. I understand why she's going off and leaving Holden again, but it just she annoyed me. Seeing Fred back again, Fred's an interesting character. Loved Amos or Timothy, but on Earth. I know where he's about to go, and I know the fact he's calling Avasarala Chrissy. I love that.
Chrissy. Don't call me Chrissy. It goes, I'm not your favourite stripper. It goes, I'm a member of the Earth Parliament. He turns around and goes, you could be both. It's like, oh, that's flirtatious and kind of a comeback all at once. So she's like, can't be too angry at that.
I'm glad that the recasted husband is not in this, because that's the one criticism I have of season 4. The husband was a dick, and in the books he's not. And actually, when they cast him initially in season 1, he was a lovely guy, and he clearly loved her, and he puts up with her. Whereas this guy was a dick, and so he had a bomb dropped on him. To be honest, my favourite bits were Avasarala and Amos, and seeing Fred back again. And I quite liked seeing a drummer back. And I liked the scene.
Right. Drummer is not drummer. Drummer is a character called Michio Pa.
Well, drummer.
Michio Pa is in a weird fucking relationship where she is married to like 7 people, and they're all married back to each other. So have this weird group relationship where Drummer wasn't that character. Drummer was Fred's assistant, which they've replaced, ironically, with the character that Drummer replaced at the end of the 3rd series, and now he's with Fred, even though he should be dead on the Naboo or the Medina Station, whatever they're calling it.
The question is, I like the fact that Drummer found the recordings and clearly sent them to Fred, who then forwarded them on to Avasarala. That was obvious.
Because they put out the fact that Fred Johnson and Avasarala have a relationship, not like a sexual relationship, like a relationship like spies, passing information back and forth.
Because Avasarala knew he nicked all those weapons for the bell, and she was wise about it. She didn't, she knew that he could fire them off at Earth and everything. And instead of doing that, she's using him to collect stuff. This is why she's such a fucking fantastic character. As is Fred. So no, I liked Drummer. I liked the Drummer scenes. I like, they didn't make a big song and dance about the fact that she's in a lesbian relationship. It just felt natural.
It wasn't. It's not that. It's the relationship with fucking everybody. That's the weird bit with Michio Pa.
That's Holden's parents as well.
No, this is the thing. I had this conversation with Mrs. And I told her, I said, well, isn't Holden's parents? And like, no, Holden's parents got together because they wanted a farm. And they all agreed that they would only have one child for the fucking 9 of them, and they would raise that one child, and then they'll contribute the DNA, and the machine would put together the best bits of all of them, and then one of them would give birth. And they weren't in a weird kind of omnisexual, we'll shag everyone every opportunity we get. regardless of gender, etc. relationship. Yeah, this because that was how can I put it? That was something weird and new in the book, and it was one of those things that just made me perk up and go, "Oh, okay, fair enough." And that was Michelle Parr's character.
I know where this is going. I don't know yet whether if we see who I think we might see in season 6 or not, because really, what's his face is not the big bad. There's technically one above him.
There's one above him. There's his Emperor Palpatine he's got.
Yes, but I don't know if we'll see him. But interestingly, the writers this week turned around and said that stop saying the show has been cancelled. It's not been cancelled. It's on hold, which kind of makes sense. That considering where the books are, you could come back to this in 10 years' time.
Well, they were going to say, I think it was they said 5 years' time. They're going to wait for the actors to age up a bit so they can fit into their older roles, because there is a massive time jump. But they said that they take drugs and stuff, and because they're in space, it doesn't quite affect them the same way because they haven't got gravity working on their face constantly, like us down the gravity well.
I don't think we might see a season 7, 8, and technically 9.
They were talking about doing films.
That would work.
They were talking about doing big ass films. 3 big ass films.
That could work. But no, I love it. It's still the best damn thing on TV. I love that it's back. I want to binge it and I can't, but it's annoying, but I understand why Amazon is doing that. It's a good thing. But now that we know that season 6 is going to be the last, I'm not totally sure that it's a great idea now to do this 1 episode a week thing.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm ready to watch that next episode. I am so ready. I'm like, right, okay, because it's kicked off now. And the thing is that those first 3 episodes were setting up 2 seasons. Yeah, they're not setting up 1 season, they're setting up 2 seasons. There's something small they need to set up in the middle, which I think that the Martian lecturer is going to be part of when they cross the gates and they figure out if you do something with one gate on one side while another one's entering, weird shit happens. And the best line, right? There were two really good lines for the 3 episodes, yeah. And it was the second best line was from Amos, where he said to Christian Avocero, like, you can be both, as in a stripper and UN member of Parliament. But the best one come from Fred Johnson. Telling me you've got brain damage isn't quite convincing. That was great. When he was trying to explain to him, it's like kind of when they were beaming images into my head, yeah, because it kind of like a piece of paper, you fold it up, yeah, and the creases are still there. And that's when Fred Johnson turned around and looked at him and goes, telling me you got brain damage, kid, isn't the best way of convincing. Dude, loved it. It was fantastic. I've flapped my fucking guns too long about it because I could talk all day about this, but unfortunately, I tried to tell the guys it was going to be a quick one. Oops. So we're getting towards the end, and it's time for what the story. I can't find the button. Where is it? Right. Have you ever used a bath bomb, Keith?
Yes.
No, did you ever use a bath bomb?
No.
No, I've never used a bath bomb. I know loads of people who have used bath bombs. There's an American friend of ours really into bath bombs from Lush. But Baker left cracking up after Powell mistakes chocolate gift he made for bath bomb. A woman ended up with an embarrassing and very sticky situation after mistaking a chocolate bomb her friend had made for her a bath bomb. I love a picture there. Where's the thing? The long and the short bit is a baker had made her a cake, yeah, and she thought it was a bath bomb, and she threw it in the bath. Where's the message? I meant to say that a chocolate bath bomb. Chocolate bath bomb. I just say today I put that chocolate bath bomb in the bath, and it got stuck in my hair, etc., and took ages to wash out. It was was quite sticky, but thanks, love. Was not a bath bomb, Trish. You fucking idiot. For fuck's sake, you are. For fuck's sake, are you serious? The long and short of it is, yeah. So, if you're given the gift of something that looks like a bath bomb, and this goes both ways, check to make sure it's not food or a bath bomb. One, if you eat a bath bomb, it's not going to taste very nice. And two, if you stick a bath bomb in your bath, it's not going to be very nice. And on that note, I think it's time we all say goodbye.
Oh, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, and we will catch you in our next podcast. I thought I ate a bath bomb once. It actually turned out to be a lump of cocaine. I was fucking off my tit for weeks.